everybody. Welcome to the Pip and Dodds podcast featuring the star of the show, Gary Ellerson, the former Badger and Packer, one of the greatest guys I know. And he is the star of the football show with Leroy Butler and Dennis Krause, all due respect to them, and 105.7 FM, The Big Show from 2 to 6, FM The Fan. And John Dodds is the Packers historian and so much more. Well, you know the story by now. Packers 21, Bears 13. They get the sweep. 7-1 in games of one score or less. And I don't know, Gary, what to say about this team, except maybe at 11-3 with a chance for the second seed as we speak, maybe even number one. They win ugly, don't they?
Yeah, and I just think that we should just enjoy it, right? I just think we should just enjoy it. It's 11-3. I mean, there's only about 5 people in this world saw him being this, and that was my good friend Dodds over here. I mean, I don't know if he predicted it happening this kind of way. Well, I mean, he's got about 5 rules of thumb that he said, health, right? And
got to be health for Brian Balago is my key with A-Rod and, and Bakhtiari.
And King, right? Was that
King.
That was another one. And for the most part, they have been the healthiest team in the NFL. So something is to be said for that. And so I think we're trying to look for reasons why not to like them or trying to look in depth and stuff. We just don't know. I mean, they've been winning. They've been winning ugly. They haven't been scoring a lot of points. Aaron Rodgers doesn't look like Aaron Rodgers. But I think a lot of people have been asking about their identity. I think their identity is not Aaron Rodgers. I think their identity may be the defense. I think the defense has been playing very well. I think if you look into the fourth quarter, after Dean Lowry got that interception, the offense failed to do anything with the ball. I think the Bears may have had 2 or 3 more possessions after that within about 8 to 9 minutes left on the clock in the fourth quarter. I thought time and time again that defense stood up and held its ground.
John, they get up 21-3, but again, they can't put people away. The scripted plays are marvelous. I don't know if that means that Matt LaFleur is not doing the in-game adjustments that he needs to do. But certainly Aaron Rodgers named to the Pro Bowl along with David Bakhtiari. Man, he made some un-12-like plays that cost him a couple of field goals. I mean, just silliness. And I don't know how you would address both. Why do they jump up and then the offense just falls apart or does nothing? And what's the deal with Aaron in terms of the boneheaded plays that you would never expect a cerebral player such as himself would make?
Yeah, John.
Merry Christmas, too.
Answer that, John.
Merry Christmas while we're at it.
That's a great question, Pip.
There are like 8 questions.
First of all, you said Pro Bowl. Whenever you follow a team, you want as few people to go to the Pro Bowl as possible. Sure. When I see Packer helmets on that Pro Bowl, I'm thinking, take them out. Clay Matthews got hit on the side of the knee one time on a crackback block, playing a different position, and I thought, this is counterproductive, but that's beside the point. There's a formula here. You have a healthy Green Bay team playing a non-healthy other team, and you're exploiting their weaknesses. They have pass rush with the Smith brothers, and it seems like that allows them to shorten the field early. They get up early. I don't know if they get more conservative or if they lose focus. Aaron Rodgers, I think Aaron Rodgers got caught on Sunday doing plays that you never see him get. Key plays where you're in field goal range. You don't need a grounding penalty. You don't need a sack. You don't. And he did that. That tells me either he's getting old, which I don't think is the case. He is older than he obviously is 36. I think the Bears are a very good team. I think they had 11 wins, 12 wins last year, and their defense is still top 10. And they had a Hicks back there, but why are they? It seems like a formula. And against the Giants, this was the case. Against the Redskins in the second half, the Packers' defense is on the field a lot. There was I think 31 plays were run by Chicago in the fourth quarter, very much like the third quarter of the Giant game where they had 2 very long drives. I don't know why they stay on the field a lot, but they are making adjustments. I've noticed that the big adjustment is they're using Zadarius Smith up the middle. They're moving him up in the A-gap, moving him around up in the A-gap. And there was a Rashawn Gary sighting where he
Yeah.
made a nice play, and he's
Right.
done some good things. So
And Kenny Clark was a beneficiary, right, with a couple of sacks, sack and a
Right.
half or two. He's played really well. Good
yeah.
point.
So I hope that answers your question, Pip.
Well,
So
I think
once
I'm-
and for all, Pip.
yeah,
I hope that.
as usual.
Yeah.
The offensive line for 3 quarters, by their admission, was outstanding.
Yes.
Rodgers had lots of time,
Yes.
but when he had more time, I thought it was 3+ seconds or whatever, he was like 6 for 21.
Yeah.
He's dancing around there. He's not decisive. I don't get it, Gary, and I wonder if you can tell me if I'm just a frustrated fan who doesn't know what he's talking about, which is probably the case. But why is this happening with a guy you don't expect it from?
I think there's a lot of things. I think maybe the most important thing is the offense. I think he's still trying to figure out the offense that LaFleur wants to run and the offense that Aaron Rodgers wants to run. And now we asked for this, and I thought maybe Aaron Rodgers asked for this, new coach, new system, all this stuff. And I think they're still trying to make all that work. And I think it's a work in progress. I think that's what we're seeing by them offensively. And it's still, I mean, case in point, the touchdown pass to Devontae Adams, where he goes over to the sideline and LaFleur says, well, I just want to get a first down. I'm calling a quick game.
Right.
I'm just trying to get the yards, get a first down. And Rodgers goes, hey, they're in press coverage. I think I can get it in there to Devontae. And isn't that typical Aaron Rodgers?
Absolutely. That's part of his brilliance, right?
I think, was it 4th and 4, John? You remember.
Yep.
Was it 4th
Yeah,
and
4th
4?
and 4.
Right, and they're going for it. And a lot of time we ask, well, why are they going for a bomb on 4th and 4 when all we need to do is get a first down? That right there let me know that a lot of this stuff that we saw under Mike McCarthy wasn't really Mike McCarthy. It had a lot to do with what Aaron Rodgers wanted to do. So that kind of pulled the curtains back a little bit. I don't know if Matt LaFleur was saying that to save his butt or just a matter of fact of, well, listen, here's what I call. I wanted a quick game to get a first down. Rodgers says, Coach, here's press coverage. I think I can get it in there. And he says, well, go ahead, Rodgers, you do you. And I think that's what we're seeing offensively. We're seeing a lot of stuff that Matt LaFleur likes to do and a lot of stuff that Rodgers likes to do.
I'm going to, John, take a walk back a little because in the end, I may be playing the devil's advocate here a little bit, and there is frustration, but he is, as you say, he does what he does. And Gary, great point. I mean, it's a new system. There are a lot of things. So for people who want to say Aaron Rodgers is the problem and all, well, that's baloney.
Right.
It's not his best season. They are making it. There are factors that we don't see in there, and it's not as if he has Pro Bowl receivers beyond Devontae Adams. That's for certain.
I would say that. I would agree with that. So if you go back to when they had, Donald Driver, Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson,
Jennings.
and then Devontae
Jermichael
Sprinkling, Jermichael Finley, yes. So his margin of error is so small right now. I mean, you got guys like MVS coming out, he's dropping the ball. I mean, he should have caught that touchdown pass right away,
gosh,
right? I mean, you think to yourself, man, if that was Jordy, we know what would have happened on that play. So, yes, so I think what they have to do, though, as a team, I think they have to shorten up their rotation as far as the receivers. If it were me, if I was LaFleur, or if I'm Rodgers, I'd go to him and say, hey, Devontae, let me have Kumaro, and let me have Lazard, and then we'll just kind of go from there. Gmo may be in after that, but I think that's what they should concentrate on as far as their rotation of receivers.
We talked about this earlier in the year. Somebody would have to blink. It was either Matt LaFleur or Aaron Rodgers. LaFleur was smart enough to blink. He's letting. It's just like Mike Holmgren. Mike Holmgren, when Brett Favre would do 3 pirouettes and throw a touchdown pass to Sterling Sharp,
Right.
Holmgren knows that he looks good. So I think he was smart enough to do that, number one. Number two, Gary's absolutely right. Give him some help. Give the man some help. There was a big drop by Geronimo Allison on the first drive. The big play on the first drive where MVS dropped it, and then Devontae Adams dropped too. That's probably 80 to 100 yards more. His quarterback rating is much bigger.
Right.
So, and he's working on shorter fields, but they're smart enough that LaFleur overall has won. He's got the great quarterback, but they're using play-action fake now more than they did in the McCarthy era.
He's good on that, though. Rodgers, that play-action fake is unbelievable.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Gary something. That final play of the game, when I was having a flashback, which I always do. I always seem to have historical flashbacks. But at the end, what an ingenious play, because the Bears put the play in. The Packers thought it was an alley-oop, so they brought 4 defensive linemen in. So they had and I thought they had Cohen in the backfield. And I thought, why are they doing that? He must be just picking up the blitz that the Packers. They brought him out, but then they brought Trubisky sprinting to the left side, which is the key to the play, because you have a guy who can throw 53 yards across the field on a lateral there. And then I looked; they had a man advantage all the way across. And as they started going, I remember back to the Don Mikowski '89. I think it was just after you left the team when they finally beat the Bears, when Mikowski ran to that side of the end zone and Sterling Sharp is covered. And then it was like Charlton Heston in the Ten Commandments. the Red Sea parted, and Singletary and everybody and Sharp was wide open, and he threw that corridor pass.
Right.
I saw the same thing where all of a sudden I'm looking at Robinson. There's nobody over there.
Right.
And Tremont Williams, boy, you have to give him a lot
Huge
of credit
play,
for
yeah.
going over there. What were you thinking?
Well, can just somebody get somebody on the ground? I mean, let's be done with this, because you're right. That would have been a tough way. Well, I mean, they had to go for the 2-point conversion to tie it to get it in. But still, that kind of signifies, though, really the Packers season so far. That's how they've played. Now, that particular play, I have never seen anybody rehearse it or do it the way the Chicago Bears did it. I mean, that was magnificent for them. I mean, normally it's not choreographed that well. So they had a plan on how they want to go in and attack and actually use that as a plan. But I would say that does typify the Packers season. That ball was ended up on a 1-2 yard line.
Right.
I mean, that's how close that game came.
And again, it speaks to the point that they don't score in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
4 points or so, just over 27th in the league. Unless they get that figured out, Gary, I mean, whether they're a 2 seed or a 3 seed or even a 1 seed, how far can they go in the playoffs, whether it's Lambeau Field or anywhere else?
Well, and quite honestly, I'm very critical of the Packers. Because I want to win a Super Bowl, like most people. I don't know how far they're going to go, but I think the old saying is, let's just get in. Yeah. Let's just get in. Let's see what happens. Funny things happen when you get into the playoffs. Guys react a little bit different. You know, some of these front running teams. Now, if you'd asked me to give you my 4 teams, I think maybe it's I like the 49ers over the Packers. I like maybe the Seahawks over the Packers. I probably will take
the Saints, right?
The Saints over the Packers. I think the Packers would be my 4th team. But listen, anything can happen. We saw what happened to the Saints up in Minnesota. I mean, no one saw those things were happening in the playoffs. So I would say, let's just get in. Let's see what happens. Maybe this is the winning ugly. Maybe that's the magic that we don't know that it's. Listen, here's what we're used to, right? We're used to Brett Favre doing it and seeing him doing it well, right? We've been spoiled. And then after that, we've had Aaron Rodgers. I mean, MVP seasons, 300-400 yards a game. I don't think as Packers fans we've never seen anything quite like winning this way. You're winning with Rodgers throwing for 200 yards. You're winning with him not scoring any touchdowns.
Right, one TD pass.
I don't think we're accustomed to that. I think that's why we're so maybe uneasy about what the playoffs may bring. And because can they continue to win this way?
Yeah, and they're in, and that's the main thing. And we, of course, were in PCI, Professional Construction Inc., celebrating 15 years, a wonderful holiday Christmas party recently. And so we thought it'd be a great idea, of course, WisconsinSportsStream.com, WSS Sports, Jason and Derek, our great partners. And so Jason came over with his camera, an opportunity to meet Michelle and Mike Grau, who do a fabulous job in every way. So our main sponsor, we're so proud of them, and we thought, let's get them connected with you. So Michelle, take it away.
Thanks, Tom. I'm Michelle Grau with Professional Construction and my husband, Mike Grau.
Hello, everyone.
Tonight is our 15-year anniversary celebration and our Christmas holiday celebration. So we wanted to take you on a tour and show you what we did. Our mock-up home here is a representation of siding, doors, windows, different things that you can do with your house. This fabulous room is our rec room, living room, kind of design area that we have for customers. So we've got some custom cabinets in here. And we also, the highlight of this area is that our interior design, Jennifer, can sit at the table here. She can work on a laptop and stream images onto the wall. So as you're a customer sitting at our bar or tabletop here, you can see exactly what's going on in your home or your potential home.
We've got kind of multiple different display zones, kind of a flooring area. The space is not quite finished yet because it's still newly opened, let's put it that way.
We have one of the newer up and coming colors that you're seeing more and more. The brass is coming back in style. Over here we have a Kohler display. Kohler is one of the vendors that we work with. You can stop in, you can take a look at the different styles. Our reception area is usually have been a highly talked about area. Everybody loves our wall. It's Brazilian pecan. It's all little squares installed. Everybody walks in the door, wants to touch it, feel it. This is where PCI started. This desk right here, this is where the company started. This was my dad's desk, and to look at this small piece of furniture and see what we've created, all the people that we've met, all the wonderful everybody that supports us, it's pretty amazing.
Let's take it back to Tom and crew.
Thank you, Michelle and Mike, and do we look forward to introducing all of you, ladies and gentlemen, to the super work they do in the community, as well as if you want the kitchen remodeled, you name it. That was a lot of fun, and the food was great, which was awesome. All right, let's talk a little bit more about that Packer defense. John points out they moved Zadarius Smith, so he was having an impact even if they weren't getting home. It certainly helped Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary. How did you feel about I mean, 13 points, that's 13 points. You'll take it, right?
Right. No doubt about it. I think with Zadarius, I mean, they can use him in a lot of different ways, and I think that's why they went out and got him to here in Green Bay. I mean, he can play stand up outside, and he can play well with his hands in the dirt. So now they have a package with him and Rashard Gary and Preston with Clark. So he's a long defensive lineman, but you can do a lot of different things with those guys. And we saw really Gary gets a sack, and we haven't seen him run in a while. So with a lot of teams wanting to pass the ball, I think that's their obvious passing type situation for that defense that Pettin has employed. Now they've done that before, so this wasn't the first game that they did this. I've seen them sprinkle in here and there, but I think with the way it's been working, I think you'll probably see them do a little bit more.
And JD, they were very good against the run. I mean, let's give them credit Sunday against Chicago.
They were. Kenny Clark, in fact, I was talking to the offensive lineman in Chicago locker room. They were saying that Kenny Clark is probably the second-rated defensive lineman behind the Ram defensive lineman, the top paid lineman. I can't think of his name at the second. But Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald. Thank you, Derek.
Behind Aaron Donald.
Probably would pay him the big bucks.
Thank you. The Packers seem to really jack themselves up and stop the run. I don't know. It could be that the offensive line of the Bears isn't quite up to speed because the Packers just dominated them against the run in Week 1, and they've had some injuries. I know Kyle Long is out for the year, but they were very complimentary about Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark looked like one of the best players in the NFL, one of the best players in the team. And Pip, just watching Michelle at that party, I'm just wondering, Gary, we were talking and thinking if you were sick or on vacation or something, and we need a substitute host,
I'd be Wally Pipped. Pip would be Wally Pipped by Lou Gehrig. There's no, because she's amazing. That's a wonderful family. Man, that was a good time. There was a break or two that the Pack caught. It seems that, as you said, Jay, you catch them at the right time. Gary referenced in terms of injuries. They didn't have their 2-star linebackers in there. But also, you had the Cordell Patterson hit on Tremont Williams. Boy, I think they got a break on that call, didn't they? That could have been a game changer on the punt return. Remember, fumble, they recover, and then it's...
And that's what we're saying about the Packers right now. I mean, they seem to have a lot of breaks. You talk about Trevathan not being there. You talk about Roquan Smith is out for the season. Those two inside linebackers, I mean, they are really, well, they're 4-star, 5-star type inside backers. So, yeah, and then you add that up to the play that they had with the punt return. I mean, so there are a lot of things that are happening
Things are
their way
falling in the
that we can't
right
quite
place.
explain. Listen, they go to Kansas City, they get a win. They don't play against Mahomes. I mean, but they've been winning games that they're supposed to win. I mean, you saw Atlanta and San Francisco, right? What happened to that game?
Yeah.
San Francisco loses that game.
Yeah.
No one thinks that they're going to lose that game. So there's a lot of odd things that are happening in the NFL. But I think one thing you can say about the Packers, though, that pretty much they've won the games they're supposed to win. I think the only outlier would be maybe that Chargers game. But other than that, they beaten teams, they handle teams they're supposed to handle.
Final comments from you guys before we take a timeout, and then we'll come back with another podcast. We'll look ahead, obviously, the big Monday night matchup in the Twin Cities, Pack and Vikings. John?
I can throw a tidbit out. Alan Lazard was given a game ball for the New York Giant game for special teams. He was just jacking players, and it was extremely physical, and he looked good catching the ball over 100 yards receiving. So I was thinking during the week, here's a very physical, tall wide receiver. Why not put 10 pounds on him, make him the next Jermichael Finley? So I asked some of the powers that be at the game. I saw Gary
Including
at the game.
Gary.
So I'm asking around.
It's a great idea.
So I said, I asked them, and one of the persons with the Packers kind of smiled at me and said, we've been talking about this for a couple weeks. And one told me he's not quite as fast as Jermichael Finley was. Jermichael Finley was the whole package. But that's something that they could possibly look at him, putting him in the slot at the tight end position, maybe where Graham is. So you could have a little bit more speed, a little bit more juke. So that's my one tidbit from the press box. I'll try to throw in a tidbit on a podcast every time.
Yeah, I like that. Well, all those trips are worthwhile. Gary, a final thought?
Well, no, I think, at the end of the day, I mean, it was a great win. It was a huge Packer-Bear rivalry. I mean, it was lived up to all the expectations. I think it's good that the Packers got a win, and now we just move forward to the Minnesota Vikings. I think most people are looking for that Monday night matchup between the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. Listen, the Vikings hadn't lost all year long at their new digs down there.
Yeah.
Or I should say up there.
Yeah, good point now. Yeah. We have a situation where the Pack sweep the Bears. Aaron Rodgers is 19-5 against the Bears. He's 19-5 in December, I believe, at Lambeau Field. So lots of good stuff. But they go on the road to take on the Vikes, and we'll talk about that. Will Dalvin Cook play? If he can't play, do you like the Packers' chances to win 2 and get a 2 seed for sure? We'll have more in our next podcast. For Gary Ellerson, former Badger, Packer, 105.7 FM, The Fan, and The Big Show, and John Dodds, the professor. I'm Tom Pippins. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks our sponsor, PCI, and WSS Sports. See ya.